random last minute decision, we're going to go to a little local show. It's about half an hour, 45 minutes away, and they've got some like a riding horse class. Come on, Elf, we can't eat all the grass. Come on. And there's a all-round horse class, I think, with a little jump and stuff. So just because I haven't managed to get them out because of the whole MCI and Iberian show debacle, I will say more about that in a minute. Yeah, I just wanted to get them out really, because we're away next weekend again on Saturday, so I just wanted to get them out. So off we go. So here we are at the show, and Erin is here helping me, and we are I haven't actually asked her if she's alright to be in the vlog. Alright to be in the vlog? So yes, we've just been giving him a little brush off. He's not looking too bad considering he's been dragged out of a field and not had a bath or anything. So yeah, and he's been a good boy plaiting up. I haven't bothered to do my proper plaits with all the extra bits in them. I just it's grown enough. So I've got some little stubby plaits. They're not amazing, but I haven't really got time to sew in the other bits. So that's how it is. So yeah, we're going to tack up now and get on. You've been a good boy, aren't you? Yes. Good boy, Elfie. So there's a bit of a gap between the classes, and I was warming him up and he was fine, but to save us back, because there's a wait, I'm just going to get off him for a bit and wait for the next class to come out, and then we'll get on and warm up again. But you've been a very good boy, aren't you? Good boy. Yeah.
So this is me with my friend Bobby, and then these are the two other Iberian horses that were at the show with us as well. So I've sort of been seeing going to shows as a cheap way to ride in a nice arena, actually, because to pay for 2 classes and a bit of fuel money, and then to get to ride for several hours in really nice places like this is actually cheaper than it is for me to go and hire an arena for like an hour, and you know, be there by myself, which is a bit boring, and it's good education for him. So you know, it all helps with the greenness, really. There weren't actually more than 4 of us in here in any of the times I went in to warm up.
Nervous if you laugh. You breathe.
So this was the first class, which was the riding horse type class, I think. Everyone was really nice, as you can hear from everyone chatting. It was good fun, and yeah, you know, it just felt like a nice environment, really. He was pretty settled. We had a couple of head tosses, you know, we always get 1 or 2, but all in all, it was better than usual, I would say. He was pretty nice and relaxed going round on the whole. You know, he had a couple of little looks at things and a couple of little tension moments with noises, or, you know, but he was good. And that was quite a nice transition into the canter there. To be honest, there's not that many times I've taken him to somewhere like this and done a whole group ride with lots of us, so, you know, he dealt with this really well. I did try and put him at the front where I could, just because I wasn't sure what he'd make of cantering with everybody behind him in a line, or, you know, following horses in front, but he was good.
Smile, you're supposed to be enjoying yourself.
I want to breathe at the same time.
Yes, come on, Richard, give me a break. It was about 30 degrees. I did have to keep my jacket done up and on because the shirt buttons pop open over my large bust. So that's why I had to keep my jacket on. So the judge pulled us forward and then we just had a little chat about his age and, kind of what level he was working at approximately. And yeah, she was very pleasant, had a good look around him. It's always good to see a judge take a proper look at them and see, the confirmation. And yeah, it's good practice for him to stand still as well, because as we know, he's not very good at that. So I'm just waving my arms around a bit there because I was just checking where she wanted me to do the show, whether she wanted me to stay in front of the other horses in the lineup or whether we had full use of the whole arena and could go behind them. I was really pleased with how this went actually. He was very well behaved and stayed in a pretty good contact for most of it and was nice and nice and rhythmical. So I decided it would be nice to come down the long side and try and do a little bit of lengthening as well. So we did push on a bit along this bit here and he did a good job. And a nice square halt to finish. Good boy. So afterwards we got sent out again while the judge deliberated and he was pretty nice and relaxed around this bit as well, so doing well. That's my lovely Wide Boot Company jacket I'm wearing there. Nice and comfortable, even if it is like nearly 30 degrees. So we got pulled in second. Not too bad. It was a full Iberian top 3 lineup. So it was really nice to have a judge that took the time to explain her placings and why she'd put us the way she had. It's always really appreciated when judges do that, because it's so nice to get some feedback and know what you're doing wrong. A big kiss for my good boy.
I'm really pleased with how he went in that class. So this sort of English style showing isn't really our thing. There's a lot of standing around, which he finds quite boring, but I felt like he rode around in a really nice even contact, which is always our problem. I mean, if you've watched my old vlogs with my dressage, the contact has always been an issue, and today he felt really nice and relaxed, and he stayed nicely on the contact the whole time pretty much. So really pleased with him. And he came second, and the judge said he was the best riding horse type in the class. Just showed a little bit of greenness, which is why he didn't win. He came second. So and my friend Jane won with her lovely mare, so that was good. And another friend of mine came third on another Spanish horse. So the Spanish horses have been rocking it today at the show. So yeah, but really chuffed with him. Then we got a little break and we're doing the all-rounder class.
So when my friends and I entered this class, we weren't actually sure what was going to be in it, but yeah, they just said there was going to be a little jump and a few other things, but it would be optional. So you could do bits if you wanted to, or just leave them out. It's really good for him just to learn to line up like this as well and stand with the others and not fidget. So it's always a little tricky with these kind of classes where you don't actually know what's going to be in it ahead of time or how it's going to be laid out, because you've got to be quite quick thinking, and while you're sat there lining up, try and think of a pattern and where is the best place to approach things from. And you might want to jump away or into the crowd, or it's just different preferences depending on your horse. So yeah, it's good to sort of think about it and try and plan in your head while you're waiting for your turn to decide what you're going to do. Also, don't jump into the crowd. I mean, jump towards the crowd, obviously. Jumping into the crowd, definitely not a good idea. Actually, what I found most difficult about this was trying to work out how to do all of the paces on each rein, as well as fit in the obstacles without making it a ridiculously long individual show. So yeah, it was definitely a kind of think as you go. I decided it would probably be best to jump away from the audience and towards the other horses. That worked well. He jumped this really nicely, so I was very pleased with that. And then I was thinking, where do I go next? I think I've got to do some more canter. So yeah, popped him into canter on the other lead. And then decided to go for the tunnel of poles. And they were quite narrow, but we have practiced doing rein back a lot because of doing working equitation, ringing the bell. He is very used to walking back between two poles, so I thought, why not show off a bit, and he can do that. So yeah, that was nice. This was my slight error, trotting towards the judge to do a trot to halt, because he then argued with me because I he thought he was going to jump the jump again. So that was really stupid of me. If I was going to do that again, I would have just walked towards the judge so he didn't get confused and think he was going to jump again. A little bit of the old chompy chomp going on there. This is a bad habit and I really wish we could get out of it. It's very frustrating the way he chomps his way around the whole time, especially when he's doing things that he considers to be quite boring, like walking. But there we go. So we got pulled in second again, which is fine. And yeah, I was just very pleased with him. He did a nice individual show there, jumped the jump nicely, did everything I asked of him. I was quite happy with that.
So he was ever so good in that. I'm really pleased with him. So he's definitely earned his stud muffin now. But yeah, he was a bit fidgety. We had a long wait before the class and he doesn't like hanging around. So he was a bit fidgety by the time we got in and not really wanting to stand in the lineup. But when we got out and did our show, he was really, really good. Very proud of him. My stupid idea to try and trot towards the jump and stop right by the judge stood by the jump because he then thought he was jumping, which made our halt not very good at the end because we had to grind to a halt, didn't we? Because she thought we were going in the jump. Silly mummy. But yeah, he's been a really good boy. They're not doing second into the championship, so we're just going to go home now. But good day out, and he's had a good lot of exercise. So yeah, you're a good boy, aren't you? Yes.
And I hadn't really eaten, so we had a quick bacon roll, which he was very interested in.
Yeah, so yesterday was a really fun day. I'm glad I went. I had a real down week last week. I've had a lot of issues with my tenants in my house and a lot of damage. And £5,000 worth of bills that I wasn't expecting. So I've been really down about sort of work and the house and everything, and wondering how I'm going to pay to sort it all out, basically. So I wasn't really in a good frame of mind for going to a competition, but it was only just half an hour down the road, and the entries were only £10 a class, which is really, you know, good value these days. It seems like the entry fees are obviously going up and up as people are trying to cover their expenses. So yeah, so I'm really glad I did go, and Erina was really helpful and great company. Erina's been riding my New Forest pony, who is 20, I think she's 25 years old now, Lulu. So they got on really well, but unfortunately Lulu's a little bit lame. We had a horse drive that went past my field a couple of weeks ago, last week on the bank holiday weekend, and there were so many carts that went past, it really upsets my horses. And even they were put down into the bottom field so that they couldn't be right by the road work, because I was worried they were going to run through the fence. But yeah, my friend who was looking after them for me while we were away put them down in my bottom field for me, just so they were out of sight. But I suspect they were still apparently galloping around and completely sweated up. So I think Lulu may have just tweaked something or just bruised her foot, because the ground's quite uneven down in the bottom field. It's quite rutty. So yeah, so she's been a little bit off, and Erina's not really been able to ride. And I said, oh, do you fancy coming along to the show to help? Which she did, because she's not been to a horse show for years and years. And so yeah, she was really good company and very helpful, so that was great. So I'm glad I went. We had obviously a couple of friends there, which was the main reason I went as well. And Elf was really good. I don't do a lot of English shows because we don't enjoy all the standing around waiting for everybody to do their individuals, but he was really nice and on the contact mainly. I felt like that's always been our problem, and the contact issues do seem to sort of be improving slightly, and he was so good. He gave me a really nice feeling all day. He was so relaxed. And it was almost like he stepped off the lorry and went, oh yeah, party time. But he's chilled about it, you know, like he's interested in the other horses and what's going on, but he's not silly. So yeah, and he stood still nicely for me to get on and everything, which is always good. So yeah, really happy with him, and yeah, got 2 second places, which was all right, and he jumped the jump nicely and in the second class, so, and travelled well, so I can't really ask anything more of him. So yeah, maybe we'll do a couple more riding horse classes. I think that the judges seem to like him as a riding horse type, so I guess if we are going to do any showing, maybe that's the class to go for if there's no foreign classes. It's very hard to find shows that have got foreign ridden classes. A lot of them seem to have in hand, which doesn't really interest me at all, but they don't have the ridden side of it for some reason. But anyway, and you were a good girl, weren't you? You're a good girl. Yeah. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the vlog, and we will catch up with you next time, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you'd like to be notified of other videos. Bye.